We got a series.
Yeah, we do.
Game number 2 goes to the Dallas Mavericks, 119-110 in Oklahoma City. The series is now tied at 1 apiece as Game 3 shifts back to Dallas coming up on Saturday. Morgan, last time we did this, you were here going, I need Luka to be more aggressive. I need him to put pressure on the defense.
I needed him to just look the way that he did in the Clippers series. And then you push back a little bit with, obviously, it was a whole different roster, right? Guys were looking old. On that Clippers,
you got Lou Dort.
I mean, yeah. And now it's just completely different. A different type of energy, a younger, spirited team you're going up against with OKC, and you're on their home floor. Well, he switched gears and turned it on, and he started early in this one, and that's what I loved. He set the tone early.
16 points in the first quarter, but he was rebounding, setting his teammates up. I loved how aggressive he was. He needed to see some threes drop. He saw some threes drop in a big-time way in this game. He had 4, I believe, in the first quarter, so that was massive. He ends up 5 of 8 in this game. 29 points for him in this win, but it wasn't just knocking down threes. I felt like he was also attacking the paint a little bit, getting the mid-range going. And if that wasn't there, he's got a vision. He's got the vision to find his teammates.
Oh my God. Some of those passes that we saw, it felt like he was lively out there. Not Derek Lively. Just playing with so much more life, okay?
Yeah.
And in the way that he was slinging the ball around. And I know he finished with 7 assists. And it could have even been a couple more if some guys even knocked down a few more shots or made something else happen. But it was the way that he was also playmaking, being a threat out there. And then especially at the end, you can deflate a team when you are getting to your spot with one of the best defenders on you. Lou Dort was guarding Luka Doncic at times, especially there down the stretch. And he had that little turnaround midi. He gets to his spot, and it's just beautiful. It's automatic. He creates that space. He can elevate over. And then let's just say when OKC decided to throw a double at him, it was quick little bounce pass to the open person. The defense had to shift. Mavs doing a good job of attacking when they needed to, but also just making a lot of their outside shots.
Well, that was the difference tonight, they hit a shit ton of threes, and they were efficient. They end up 18 of 37 from three-point land, and then the team that's really good at shooting threes, OKC, just 10 of 30 in this game. Let's start with the Mavs first, because the way they're being defended right now, this is going to mean guys like Josh Green and Derek Jones, Tim Hardaway
Jr.
and PJ Washington
there you go.
are going to have to hit open shots. You are going to get clean looks.
Yep.
Now, OKC did better late in the game. I feel like once they started feeling it, they're like, okay, we have to defend this a little better. But PJ Washington was getting wide open looks. He was a monster tonight with his shooting. 7 of 11 from three-point range. He finishes with 29 points. He also had 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. I think this is what they envisioned when they got him, as a guy that, hey, he's got the athleticism. He is versatile enough to defend multiple positions, the length, right? He can rebound, the toughness. But they also believed he could knock down some open shots, because this offense, you're going to get open shots playing with Luka and Kyrie.
And I felt like we would see flashes of it after the trade.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't enough. It was like, well, you traded a lot for him. And in this game 2, in this series, is where you really saw that special play from PJ Washington. You saw what he's capable of. And what's great about him making these shots too is that OKC is going to have to adjust their defense. We'll get into that in a little bit. But going back to PJ Washington, him just being able to make those big shots. It was great to see that the Mavs had their other guys doing things. You talk about PJ Washington in that starting unit, but then you go down the bench and Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench with 17 points, 6 of 10 from the field, and 2 of 4 from beyond the arc.
And how many minutes did he play? 18.
18 minutes, you guys.
So
18. That's,
to me, when this game shifted. Oklahoma City did a good job getting back in this game at the end of the first half. Then they take their first lead in the third quarter.
Oh, yes.
Around 9:14-ish to go.
Okay.
I believe the score was 77-77. Luka and Kyrie came out for a second, and then they put Kyrie right back in. There was a mistake.
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
But Tim Hardaway got going. And This is a guy who has been injured. He's been streakier than ever. It's a player that in the past for Dallas has had big games. You could drop 40 plus in a game. He'd get red hot from three, and he got it going. I loved him knocking down threes for Dallas. Yeah, that was big. But I also felt like he wasn't in a situation where he started to force it. Where sometimes, I get it, you're feeling good.
Sure.
I'm knocking down shots. Where then he starts taking bad shots. I didn't feel like he was taking bad shots. There's one play, he got the ball in the corner, pump fake, put the ball on the floor, got in a little mid-range game. You know, and I so it's the others tonight. PJ with 29. And Tim Hardaway with that 17-point performance was massive.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, though. Even with Hardaway, it was like, even though he felt in some ways that he had the hot hand with being able to make a shot, whether it was in the mid-range, off the dribble, or those couple of threes that he made, it felt like he wasn't just going to chuck.
Yep.
And I just thought that patience, that composure, and that understanding was great to see. But they also weren't like, holy shit, let's get the basketball to Luka and Kyrie, take over, go in ISO, we need you to do your thing. It felt like everyone was playing together, a little bit more connected tonight. I thought when OKC started throwing some of those doubles, even at Kyrie, let's say, Kyrie just did a fantastic job. It wasn't even a double at first. This one was just in the pick and roll with Gafford, and Gafford be on that short roll, and every single time Kyrie would get it to Gafford, it would still open up enough of the floor where Gafford could make a decision to go downhill, to have a floater, to look in his corners, whatever it needed to be. I just loved the spacing that Kyrie commanded on the offensive end tonight.
Kyrie was still impactful.
Yep.
And it's crazy to look at it. Through 2 games in this series, the guy's averaging 14.5 points per game.
Yeah.
But he's only taken 22 shots. So Oklahoma City's game plan is like, this guy just destroyed the Clippers. Mm-hmm. He looked like one of the best players going. We're going to limit him. We're going to make sure he is seeing a ton of bodies in the paint. We're not going to allow him to get as many clean looks. We're going to make life more challenging and force the others to beat us. Kyrie is seemingly making the right play. And it's also understanding like, hey, I can be a playmaker with the 11 assists he had. But I thought the other thing tonight, he and Luka combined had 3 turnovers.
Oh, much better.
Well, they had 9 in game 1.
Right.
So
just taking care of the basketball.
They took care of the basketball. And then Kyrie's defense has been good. I mean, how many times is he just digging, forcing turnovers?
Oh, my God.
I think he had a few offensive rebounds in this game.
I mean, the amount of times that you and I are watching this game and we go, that's Kyrie tapping that ball out. That's Kyrie digging. That's Kyrie's activity. Luka, the same thing, being able to play a passing lane, just being so much smarter on the defensive end. And I think being smarter is just being locked in.
Yep.
There's so many times throughout a game where it seems like Luka Doncic is going to go down and he's dying and he's hurt and then his knee starts bleeding.
At one point, he did look like he was. Remember when he started hopping?
He got tripped up and then he started hopping and then the next possession down, I think it was, he
hits a
knocked down a 3. And I think even Hubie Brown goes, well, he's going to feel good going back down on this side. I'll
say this.
Once he goes on offense.
Luka has a future in professional wrestling if he wants to because he makes me. I don't know. I don't know if he's hurt or not.
I believe.
I know he's banged up, but there's sometimes you're like, are you sounding a little bit?
The epitome of a European basketball player, though.
It's amazing.
That's what, there's so much of that plays a big part in that. But again, those antics are going on, but then he plays like this and he still plays under control and as a leader out there, it's like, yes, do what you need to do. And I love the way that he remained aggressive. Now, really quick too, I wanted to go over when the doubles were thrown at Luka and the doubles were thrown at Kyrie. They make such quick decisions with the pass. Like, it's just the most simple bounce pass out of this double, out of this trap that's maybe even up closer to the half court line. And what that does, that quickness, that quick decision, it forces OKC's defense to have to think fast. Yep. And sometimes it felt like their defense wasn't fast enough with the way that they were shifting, trying to pick up the pieces. They were still always having Chet being that second line of defense, protecting the rim. But at times, Mavs were just being smart and being like, okay, we're just going to get in the open space. So we're going to find the open man from beyond the arc. And hey, knocking down your shots makes a huge difference.
Going back to what we were talking about when Hardaway came back in.
Okay.
Because I was just, while you're talking about that, I looked this up. It was 77-77. Luka goes out at the 6:28 mark. He returns at the 2:09 mark. The Mavs are up 93-84. So what a swing that was for them in that situation, because Tim Hardaway got it going. They're feeling great. I just felt like that was a significant stretch for the Dallas Mavericks tonight. That, hey, Luka's on the bench and another guy steps up. It was Tim Hardaway. Yeah,
it was just, again, if you're the Mavs, you got to be happy with how the other guys stepped up, did what they needed to do. I thought even Gaffer did a good job of just being aggressive in there. I know he got that hand injury.
Yeah, when he went to block Jalen Williams' shot and his hand hit the backboard, and then he's in the game for another 2 minutes. The craziest shit that happened in that game, though, is a few plays after that, he's still in the game. His hand's clearly not good. They go into a little pick and roll situation. I think Luka gives him the ball, and he's like with one hand trying to maneuver, and he just threw up a wild shot, and then they got him out of the game. And I'm like, this guy has one hand right now. Can we not throw him the ball on a pick and roll situation? And then Gafford's like, well, I guess I'll do something with it. I'm like, no!
That was Luka's way of saying, like, figure it out. we got to test it out right now. Okay, you got to go back to the locker room. Great, do your thing. But yeah, and then he came back in, and I thought when he came back, and then he had to play like to the basket again, and it was just like him shaking off his hand. I was like, how is this going to affect the rest of the game? And it didn't. He still was vertical with guys down by the rim, still remained aggressive. I loved what we saw from so many people on this Mavs squad.
Yeah, he played 27 minutes. Lively only played 20. He's struggling to start this series. He's 1 of 7, missed some great looks around the rim. And there was one, I believe, where he had Giddy on him. And it just, I don't know if it was an awkward catch or what, but it looked like an opportunity for him to go just jam it on somebody's head. I'm like, come on, man.
Well, something I said to you, I said, man, Lively looks like a rookie with the way he's trying to finish at times. And you're like,
go through this experience.
A rookie. But I think sometimes too, it really is like Chet being around the game and being able to experience that for even that year that he wasn't playing. It just helps you understand what's going to happen down there. And I think for Derek Lively, especially in the second round of playoffs, he's starting to figure out what's happening down there. And hey, great experience for him. We've seen so many great things from him throughout this season. So hopefully he can make those adjustments even in the postseason.
One other guy, just a quick shout, Josh Green, 11 points, knock down your open shots, good energy out there again. And for him to knock down 3 of 5 from 3, efficient. Let's go to Oklahoma City side for a second, right? Because they had a really impressive game 1. What was game 2 going to look like for them? They did some different shit tonight, all right? 1, Giddy may be completely out of this, and I'm very curious to see if he's going to be playing a lot game 3, if he's coming off the bench. So he started this game, played the first few minutes. I think Luka hit a couple of threes on him. Washington may have hit 1. It seemed like 4 of Dallas's first 5 threes were on Giddy. He gets pulled. He ends up playing just 11 minutes in this game. Does not start the second half. They go with Aaron Wiggins instead. It's tough right now. But it feels like they're just a better team without him out there.
Remember when the Grizzlies in the postseason a few years back, when Steven Adams got played off the floor, and it was like, I mean,
this is what happens in playoffs, right?
It's just a different game in the postseason. Sometimes you're going to have to make these adjustments, make that shift. And I think it is important. Sometimes the continuity and sticking to what you know is very important. But at the same time, I think it can be very important to make those postseason adjustments, even if it is that drastic. Especially, what did he end up playing? 11 minutes in this game. Yeah, Wiggins. I mean, Wiggins has played so aggressive. He's been able to show that he can shoot the ball and still be something else on the defensive end. He's not a liability on either side.
Well, and what's interesting is the first time they pulled Giddy in the first quarter.
Yeah.
He put Jalen Williams in there, and they went with that 2 big lineup with him and Chet up front. And Williams comes out knocking down threes, making plays right away in the first quarter. Some great energy, and it's a lineup that I saw online. I think Anthony Slater put out a lineup that has only shared the floor they've only shared the floor 92 minutes the entire season. So he got a look at that, and then the second half he started Wiggins to see what that looked like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do there, but clearly when Giddey's off the floor and you put Wiggins in, they're just more challenged. It's tougher to defend that. Even with Williams, who's able to stretch the floor as a big, you got Chet who could stretch the floor and protect the rim. I mean, it's a tough cover for this Dallas team, especially a Dallas team that, let's be honest, after tonight, Luka's limping around, Derrick Jones Jr. is limping around, Gafford's hands all messed up. Yeah. Guys are banged up.
Yeah, and I think those adjustments may come, but I think when you look at the OKC side and you look at the adjustments that they need to make, look, they were packing the paint defensively. And I think that game plan is smart. You don't want Luka to get shit going in there. You don't want Kyrie to get things going in there. You want to make life difficult when anyone attacks the rim. Chet does a great job of protecting the rim. Tonight, Mavs making so many of their outside shots, doing so much from the outside. And I just felt like OKC never made the adjustment to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe we should play this a little bit differently than what our game plan was going into this game.
I felt like they did better contesting shots late in the fourth quarter. And Dallas was doing a good job rebounding, right? And that's something to look at is the offensive rebounds. And I was looking at the starting lineup for Dallas tonight. I think the only guy who did not have an offensive rebound in the starting five was Luka, but Kyrie had 2, Gafford had 2, Washington had 2, Derrick Jones had 3.
There.
And it was only a 12-8 advantage, but it felt like there were some important ones. And maybe I'm just like, that's just stuck in my mind. Now I want to look in the fourth quarter just to double check this. Fourth quarter offensive rebounds, Dallas had 3. I mean, OKC had 6. But,
okay.
But it just felt like they were more impactful. Second chance points in the fourth quarter, 5 for Dallas. So.
Yeah. And I remember even on one of the possessions that OKC had 2 of those offensive rebounds in, right? So, yeah, I think ultimately you just need to be willing to adjust in game. I don't think it's even, hey, let's completely adjust for game 3 if you're OKC and play this completely different. I think you fill it out. You play aggressive. You play aggressive along the perimeter as well. You make Luka think twice before he shoots, but you still want to make sure that you're packing that paint well. Now, if guys are starting to knock down their shots right away.
I think if you're Dagnall, there's going to be more attention paid to PJ Washington.
Absolutely.
You're going to go with someone like Josh Green going, well, he's not going to play many minutes. The odds are he's going to miss some. Yeah. Dante Exum, we're going to keep playing off of him. We don't trust it. Hardaway, we know he's streaky. Let's run him off the line, make sure the help's there. But I think PJ is definitely going to get some more attention. I thought the game shifted to OKC had some bad live ball turnovers. You know, they had 10 turnovers in the game, which is not a bad number. But the points off turnovers, we're always looking at that, right? The advantage was 18-11 in favor of Dallas. 10 turnovers for OKC, 7 in the second half. 7 in the second half of that game, and those were just swing. It just felt so, they were like backbreakers. Chet had 4 of them. And Chet, and I think this is going to be the evolution of his game, right? He is so good putting the ball on the floor at times, right, for a guy his size. But there's also times he's too loose with it. In the playoffs, they're coming for that ball. Kyrie ripped him once, but there was a couple times he put the ball on the floor, and they're just digging. And Dallas has some length. They poke it away. Those are easy turnovers.
He's just got to be smart, make quick decisions, be strong with basketball. And it's like, oh, you're stating the obvious. But it's what you didn't really see from him tonight. It was a tough night. I think also when you're not seeing your shot fall,
That's
1 for 6 from beyond the arc, sometimes it's going to screw with you a little. And hey, he still is a rookie. Like, he's a younger player in this league, and these experiences are going to help him hopefully like figure that shit out.
Yeah, they were 10 of 30 from 3. I'm very curious to look at the wide open attempts they got in this game, because I feel like they got some good looks too.
They did.
And so they're going to go, hey, we clean it up. Don't turn the ball over. Pay a little more attention to PJ Washington, right? And knock down some shots, but we'll be fine. That's how I would look at it if I were them a little bit. Chet ended up with 11 points. He had 6 assists, 6 rebounds, a couple of blocks. Jalen Williams had 20 points, but 7 of 17 shooting. SGA was awesome. 33 points, 12 rebounds. He had 8 assists. He had 2 blocks. His footwork on some of these plays,
his ability to find the right angles that work best for him. I mean, what he chooses to do out there, it is a beautiful art form. Now, what I will say too, just talking about his game. He loves using that off arm and it creates space. No, and I think so many people might take offense to that. Some of the greatest players in this league use that off arm. Caitlin Clark uses that off arm, and so many people get angry about it. But if you know how to use it to create your space while also not making it obvious enough where an officiating crew is going to call it every time on you, that's a skill, and you got to keep doing that. And I think sometimes with SGA, he carries this different type of aura around him where he can do certain things and the refs give him the whistle every goddamn time. And sometimes it's really annoying to watch, and sometimes it's magical to watch because you're like, yeah, I get it. I mean, that's deemed a foul. You were touched. And other times it's still like, ooh, but it is playoffs. But you're getting those calls. You're playing like a star. I mean, making all your free throws.
It's also worth noting he drives more than anybody in the NBA. So he's going to get some calls. Mavs had the free throw advantage. They shot 24 free throws, 17 of 24. OKC was 16 of 17 at the free throw line. Fouls, 18 for OKC, 21 for Dallas. So nothing crazy there.
No.
Also, a couple things.
Yeah.
Have I been messing this up? Is it Daniel Gafford or Daniel Gaffney? I'm just asking if it was.
That's so messed up, dude.
Or is that his nickname?
Be nice.
Is that his nickname?
Be nice.
Gaffney, baby.
Be nice.
Okay. Gotta get that right.
Be nice.
What do you guys think about game? What did you guys think about game number 2? And what's your vibe now on this series? It's tied up at 1-1. I've seen the OKC fans in the comments who put us in the finals.
Oh.
I've seen Mavs fans before this saying, we're sweeping them.
Ooh.
Well, now we're tied at 1-1.
Let's go.
How are you feeling? What adjustments need to be made? Let us know in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, they tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, the podcast that you know.